All right, we're back to cover another episode of The Walking Dead in our Walking Dead Retro Review series, where we're going back in time and reviewing old episodes of The Walking Dead, where I'm seeing them for the first time. And I'm sorry, let me reverse that. I'm seeing them for the 1,000th time. She's seeing them for the first time. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. Don't forget, if you like this, to hit the like, subscribe, even leave a comment if you're so inclined. It helps the YouTube algorithm gods to continue to push our content. And before we begin, of course, moviepalette.com. I can't show you the picture that they sent me anymore because it's over there on the wall. So go check them out, moviepalette.com. Use podcast 15 and get 15% off. Also, you can check us out on Patreon, where you get these retro reviews at least a day early and some extra content. But in the meantime, we are talking about The Walking Dead. This is episode is called Inmates. And it's episode 10 of season 4. It was directed by Trisha Brock and written by Matthew Negrete and Channing Powell. And it originally aired February the 16th of 2014. Jessi, what'd you think? We really got to catch up with everybody on this episode, whereas like last episode was really just Rick, Carl, and then a little of Michonne until she caught up with them. This time you get to flash around and see what everybody's doing.
I had so many moments, so many of those, and it was awesome. Especially when Carol showed up.
Oh, yeah.
I had to pause it and explain to the other people in the room what was going on, because my reaction was just like they needed to know. They
gots to know. Yeah.
They had to know.
And it's like, and Tyrese still don't know.
No.
You know, he went, no. he like ran up to her and gave her a hug, was like super happy to see her. And it's like, oh boy.
And she was confused.
She was like, oh God. Maybe she thought he was going to be like, thank you for killing Karen. I wanted to get out of that so bad and just didn't know how to do it. No. Thank you.
I wonder what she's thinking, for real.
I'm probably like, oh, is this a trick? Is he about to squeeze me to death?
He could.
Because he's a big, strong dude, so he could probably just wrap his arms around her and, take her out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to lie. There is a episode coming up here soon that I'm not that big of a fan of. It features 2 of the characters, and going back and rewatching it, it's not as bad, but I still don't really like it. And I'm not going to lie, the way the episode started off with a certain somebody narrating a diary, I thought it was that episode and was about to be like, oh, let's skip it. And then I luckily stayed tuned and was like, oh no, that's not this one. This is one that's got a lot of different people in it, because it is a lot of moving parts to this episode.
Is this the one you... Wait. Are you talking about this one?
I thought it was this one, but fortunately it was not.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, this one I don't mind. This one's actually pretty good. And you see, Glenn is just darned and determined he's going to get back to his woman. I mean, like, he is on the hunt for Maggie, and it's going to happen.
In true Glenn fashion.
Yep. I thought...
And... when he found out about Herschel, I was so sad for him. So sad. Like, I felt it in my heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way he's like, was his name Herschel? And
yeah,
like, she doesn't answer at first. Yeah, he's like, Herschel. And then he's like, was his name Herschel? And the way she's crying. I thought, so that's it. That girl, Tara, is played, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but that's Danny Masterson's little sister, Alana Masterson. And Danny Masterson is Hyde from that 70s show. Hyde had the fro and the glasses. You watched that 70s show, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hyde. You couldn't have watched the show if you don't know who Hyde is. He's like one of the main characters.
Okay, what about him?
That's his little sister. Danny Masterson.
That was her. I was like, what?
No. Danny Masterson that plays Hyde, that is his little sister, Alana Masterson. Okay. Which he was recently like acquitted or no, they had lack of it. I don't know. I saw something about his trial. I hadn't really been following it, but I saw where like it got dismissed or something. But anyways, yeah, so that's his sister. But I thought she did a really good job of playing, what's the word I'm looking for? Playing the role of someone who was very regretful for what they had done.
Oh, yeah.
Because she definitely was convincing and like, you know, being remorseful. That's what I think the word I'm looking for, remorseful. I thought she did a good job playing in this one.
She did. And that was hard to watch too, because it's like the whole time it was going down, we knew that they didn't know what was really happening, but for her to like realize that so many people, like it was just so much destruction. And I can see how she would think that it was partly her fault. I mean, because it kind of was, but she didn't know.
She didn't know.
But I feel really bad for her. But side note, I'm not normally a fan of brown eyes. I mean, no offense to everybody with brown eyes, but I have brown eyes. So I just like lighter eyes, but her eyes are so pretty. I don't know what it is about her eyes.
She's hot.
She has brown eyes, but and it's not like your normal hot. Like I can't put my finger on it, but her eyes are really pretty.
It's just something about her. She's just hot. Really, she's just got that whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Whatever it would be to make a person hot. She got it.
She got it.
We get to bounce around. We get to see Maggie. We kind of get to see everybody's kind of paired up with somebody. You had Carl paired up with Rick, which is now a thrupplet with Michonne. Is that the right word? We're going to go with it.
I have no clue. I like it.
You got Tara and Glenn, and then what's really, I shouldn't say paired up, partnered up, I should say, because then you've got like Maggie, Bob, and Sasha, and then you've got like Daryl and Beth. So everybody's kind of got an apocalypse buddy or two to keep them alive. Tyrese has the little girls, which I feel the worst for him. Because can you imagine, all right, real life, having a kid just going to get fast food is a struggle. Imagine trying to survive the apocalypse with 3 kids, one of which is a newborn.
One of them is a baby.
Yeah, one of them is a newborn.
Dude, when Lizzie had her hand on the baby's mouth and was like really about to kill this child, what was going through her head?
Lots of bad things. She is... As we can clearly see, she has got some issues.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she's got some serious issues. And I mean, they've pointed towards them back in the prison, but we're really starting to see it now that she is not firing on all cylinders.
Maybe the zombie apocalypse had a little bit of effect on her, or maybe made her craziness worse.
Well, and we talked about that last week with like Carl and what it would be like to be a kid in the apocalypse. So it certainly could be responsible for, you know, her issues, but she's certainly got some stuff going on. And then like the scene where like he leaves them to go help the people on the railroad tracks, which was a complete waste of time because they all died like as soon as it got there. But, you know, and then I'm like, they're going to run. You know, they're going to run. Like I would not trust them by themselves in the woods.
What other option did he have, you know?
It's been like,
well, he could have just not helped, but taken somebody from the prison.
Cool.
Also,
yeah, it could have.
Speaking of those people, I could be totally wrong about this, but the one guy that got bit on the neck that they left alive, the one that told them where to go, you know, by the train tracks. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure he is one of the walkers that Daryl and Beth ran into in one of the scenes before this scene.
Oh, really? I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I hadn't noticed that.
And if he's not, then they like reused the same flannel. A lot of these, you know what? This don't make no sense. I'm just now realizing this. Why all these zombies have on flannels in Georgia?
Because it gets cold in Georgia.
Does it?
Jessi, have you ever been to Georgia?
Yeah, but
it's like just like a couple of states down. I've been to Georgia a couple of times. I don't know. Georgia's climate is very similar to ours here in Virginia. It's humid as all get out in the summer. And then it gets pretty cold in the winter.
I don't know why I was thinking it didn't get cold there.
But for real,
but anyway, a lot of them are wearing flannels.
Yeah, well, they're always wearing jackets too.
Maybe it was wintertime.
But not Daryl. He's always got on his vest.
Yeah.
We see Daryl in long sleeves sometimes, but and we see Maggie is just as determined to get back to Glenn as Glenn is to get back to Maggie.
Yeah, I had forgotten that Glenn got out of the bus, so I was feeling all the things that she was feeling because I forgot.
So when they went to the bus, you forgot about Glenn and you were like, oh God, he's going to be in here and he's going to be a zombie.
Yeah, and I really thought that last one was a zombie, and I was so confused because I was like, when are they going to show this zombie? Like, how am I going to know if that's Glenn or not? And then the next scene was Glenn waking up, and I was like, oh yeah, he got out the bus. He wasn't even there.
Poor guy, like wakes up at the prison. He's all alone. He goes into the cell. He was smart though. Like he got his Molotov cocktail configured. Well, he got the bottle for the Molotov cocktail and the riot gear, which was smart to like bum rush his way out. And it's kind of,
I can't believe he actually, I can't believe he actually got through all those zombies. How did he overpower them?
I think it's, just the thinking of Maggie, and Glenn's like, I'm never going to find a girl that hot in the apocalypse ever again. I have got to bust through here and get back to my woman.
It's true love. It's so sweet.
The power of love will move you through hordes of walkers with no issue.
Apparently.
But yeah, so we see that she's just as determined to get back to him as he is to her. And it's kind of interesting. What do you think about those folks that show up at the end? It was 3 of them. It was the bigger guy with the red hair, the guy with the mullet, and then the chick with the short combat shorts looking stuff.
I already don't like them. I don't get a good vibe from them. They seem very into themselves.
Well, it's interesting. So I will tell you, they are from the comics, and the way that they presented themselves in the show, and the fact of how, there's one in the middle and then one walks up, like everything they're doing from their positions and everything is actually the cover of their issue where they premiered in the comics. So they recreated that comic book cover with the way they did it in the show. So like I can show you at some point. I need to dig out that comic. So you could see the cover where it's actually what you saw in the show is on the cover of the comic where they show up.
That is so cool. I think I want to Google it. I'm going to Google that.
Actually, you know what? I can Google it as we're talking and pull it up on screen for you to see.
Yeah, do that so I don't accidentally spoil anything for myself.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of times throughout the show, especially when a certain future villain gets brought on, that if you actually go back and read the comic and watch the way he's standing and the things he does, did a really good job of recreating frames from the comic. Let me see.
I just scared the crap out of myself because I was like swinging my leg and it was the reflection in my dad's guitar, like right here, and I saw it out the corner of my eye.
Who is that? Who is in my house?
I listened to too many ghost podcasts like all day.
All right, so I've got it pulled up here. Let me get it pulled up on my screen. No, go back. I don't want it to spoil anything.
Can we start saying our name at the beginning and the name of the podcast like zombies?
We could. I mean, that makes sense.
I'm Jessi.
From now on, that is how I expect you to do it.
Okay. Well, I guess technically, if we're staying true to the zombie culture, it would just be.
That is kind of disturbing. I love it.
Because they don't talk,
Right.
But you guys will know what I'm saying.
So if
this is Jessi.
If you are listening to the podcast, unfortunately you can't see this, but for those that are actually watching it, let me show you what I'm talking about, Jessi. So that is how they appeared.
Yeah. Ooh.
That is how they appeared on the show, and that's their comic cover where they show up.
That's crazy.
So they actually did a pretty good job of keeping it just like on the show. Like actually, there's a comparison right there.
That is too cool.
I mean, like down to like Rosita's hand on her hip.
Yeah.
Oops, I said her name. And this guy with the gun in his hand, and then this guy holding the radio. I mean, look at how well they did that.
That's wild.
So yeah, a lot. I mean, it's definitely, the show's not without its flaws, but I will give them credit. There are plenty of times that they tried really hard to pay attention to detail, especially for the comic fans.
So
you think they might be bad guys, is what you're saying?
I was literally about to say that. So is he the new villain? Are they the new villains?
I can't tell you that, but what do you think?
I think you already said that.
I said a name.
No, I think that you said whenever they introduce a new villain, they try to.
I said no. Shows how you like my child. It shows how little you listen to me. I said later when they introduce a certain villain, they did a good job at making sure that they were following their comic like frames.
I got you. Sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry.
Nobody listens to old Justin.
All right, nobody listens to me either, so.
But I do listen to old Greg.
Old Greg?
Old Greg.
You ever drink Bailey's from a shoe?
I got all kinds of nice stuff.
Stuff and things.
I got stuff and things.
I say that all the time. Things and stuff.
Yep. Welcome to it. That's part of the Walking Dead.
Ever since you pointed it out.
That's part of the Walking Dead fandom. You're going to be saying things and stuff all the time now.
I do. Thank you, Rick.
We see that Bob's wound has been treated where he got shot in the arm, and it looks like that's the thing that blows that trips me out in like shows and movies. So like in your shoulder here, think about this. There's still like a shoulder blade back there. I mean, like a bullet goes through here and out of there, like I'm not, I could see where from a filmmaker's perspective, it'd be like, that's a good place to shoot somebody that you don't want them to die. But like, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not a shooting victim here. Hopefully that word doesn't get us in trouble. I've never been a victim of a crime like that, but I would imagine there would be some pretty permanent damage there, especially in the apocalypse without medical assistance and rehab from getting popped in the shoulder.
I mean, based on this show alone, I'm not even sure if we really need hospitals anymore.
No, they
seem to get through just fine.
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting too to see how scared. Mika seems more scared now. If that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying she was like super brave, but I don't know. It almost feels like the roles are reversed from where they were in the prison, because it felt like Lizzie was the weird one, which Mika's not being weird, but it felt like Mika was kind of standing up for Lizzie at certain points, where now it feels like Lizzie's standing up for Mika at certain points.
Well, now they're out in the open. They're not safe by any means. So maybe that's why she's a little bit more scared. Yep. I would be too.
Did you feel for Maggie when she got done after they opened the bus and she cleared it and she was crying because she was like happy that Glenn wasn't on the bus?
Well, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if she was happy or if that was Glenn. Remember, because I didn't know. I forgot Glenn wasn't on the bus, so I thought it could have been Glenn.
Yep, and we get
like when I say I felt all the feels, I felt them with her, because I was sitting there talking. I was listening. I was watching on my phone. I was talking to my phone. I was like, "Is it Glenn? Is that Glenn? Oh my God, is that Glenn? Did she just stab Glenn in the head?"
It's like, I'm pretty sure they would put a little bit more focus on it if it was Glenn. I feel like it would be like a big something, not just, oh yeah, you missed it, she stabbed Glenn in the head.
Well, listen, I didn't have time to process before the next scene when we saw Glenn alive. That's when I realized, and I was very relieved indeed.
So we've got Beth and Daryl off in the woods. Wait a minute. Yeah. You're right. Oh my gosh, you called that. It's in the Wikipedia here. All right. So according to the Wikipedia, it says in this, because this is in like the plot where it's kind of summarizing the episode. It says, where did it go? That Tyrese. All right. So he then hears Mika's handgun fire off in the distance as Tyrese begins to head back for the girls. The three of them, along with Carol, walk out of the bush. Tyrese welcomes her back, unaware of her exile by Rick. Before he dies, the older man, and it says in quotations, who attacks Daryl and Beth in the woods once zombified, tells Tyrese about a sanctuary up the tracks. So that was that guy. You were spot on with that. But I mean, you're also right.
Well,
a lot of people wear flannel.
What tipped me off was how Daryl saw the squished grapes and was like, whoever this was ran off in a hurry. And then we saw later on the grapes getting squished. So like I knew that that happened before Daryl and Beth ran into whatever. So that's what tipped me off, because like, yeah, I saw the shirt and I was pretty sure that's the same guy. And I was like, why didn't they kill him? And then I was like, oh, that's the same one.
That's a good eye. I've seen this episode many times, and for some reason I've never picked up on that. And it's probably one of those I'm gonna get fussed at in the comments. People are like, how did you not pick up on that? I don't know. I just never picked up on it.
It is what it is, Justin. It's fine. That's why you got me.
I'm telling you, I've got you to forget plot points, but to remember very minute little details.
Yes.
I remember the major plot points. You are the one who picks out all the little things. So
yeah,
that's why we work good as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Where do you think we're going? I mean, you got Rick and Carl off with Michonne. You've got, Beth and Daryl running through the woods. You've got Tyrese, Carol, Mika, Lizzie and Judith. You've got Maggie, Bob, and Sasha. And then you've got Glenn and Tara and these three strangers, one of whom a while back I already said their name, but whatever. Where do you think all of this is headed? Where do you think it's going? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I'm mostly interested in seeing what happens with Carol and Ty. How is that gonna go down? I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
That's some really good drama when you've got three new people showing up, and it's like the most concerned you are is with two people we've had for a while. Like, that's some good drama.
I'm invested. I have been waiting for this moment. Also, I predicted that she would show back up.
You did.
With Ty.
You've made several really good predictions that, like, through our time doing this, that have actually come true. You've been a pretty good predictor. The Walking Dead forums back in the day and the Spoiling Dead and all of that would have loved you, because they were just groups of people devoted to solving the mysteries and predicting it correctly and spoiling it, and you would have been like their president.
That is the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I highly doubt that.
I need a plaque now.
President of guessing spoilers of a show that's already off the air.
Yeah. Look, this is my first go round, okay?
Yeah.
Better late than never.
Hey, it is better late than never. And don't forget, we've got The Last of Us starts. It's either the 14th or the 15th. So that's in like 10 days that we got to watch on HBO and review that too. So
I'm excited.
If you're as excited as we are, you got to watch. We're going to review that and talk about it. And that'll be interesting because Jessi's never played the video games, whereas I've played both of them and absolutely loved them both. Thought they were fantastic. So.
And once again, I'll be out of the loop, which is fun.
Which it'll be cool, though. You'll have a game perspective, and then you'll have someone who's not, because it is a lot of times with things that are adapted from books or games or whatever, it's sometimes it really is cool to see a perspective from someone, because I might hate it because of the way they, stray away from the games, whereas you might watch it and you're like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about, but I freaking love it," So it'll be cool.
It's the exact same thing with like reading a book and then seeing the movie. The movie's never as good, but the people that see the movie without reading the book, they're like, the movie's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. So let's rate this episode before we go. You got to give it a 1 to 5. You got to hold your hand where we can't see it. And when I say go, you got to pull it up with the rating. Set and go. I give it a 4. You give it a 5. There you go. It's a good episode. It's a solid episode.
Yeah, I
will tell you what they did in this episode, they should have done throughout the show's running. So they'll do it every now and again, but how they flipped between multiple stories, Like, that's what they need to do. And there's going to get to points in the show where, while it was on the air, it was being called slow because they would just focus on one or two characters the entire episode. And the whole time you're like, okay, well, where's this person? Where's that person? I want to know what this is happening. And that's, I think it's a result of them having 16 episode seasons, and they had to like fill 16 episodes, whereas other shows like on HBO, they get like 8 or 10 episodes, and it's much easier to do. But like the way they did it this episode, that is what they should have done, is to have us being filled in on everybody through different parts of the
I really like that.
Yep. So, well,
I really liked it.
Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hang out with us. Don't forget, again, you get these a day early over on Patreon. So definitely check us out there. And Jessi, you've got episode 11 coming up next. I made the mistake, of course. I had to get Jessi before this episode to debrief me. I had the Wikipedia pulled up, and I was like, debrief me. When did it start? Where did it end? Because, of course, I was like, I'm going to watch the next episode. And that turned into watching like the next 5 episodes. So then I'm like, where do I stop so I don't spoil and say when this person does this or that person dies or whatever. So I'm glad you're taking them episode by episode, because I'm just not strong enough.
I wouldn't be able to keep up.
Well, that is going to wrap it up for us. Jessi, thank you for joining me.
Anytime. It's the highlight of my week.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
No, it isn't. Don't lie.
Well, that is going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on Monday for episode 11. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
That is absolutely terrifying. And we're the Podcasting Dead. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. No, you got to keep going now.
I can't do that.
Bye-bye.
Can't do it no more.